For a game as unusual as 4D golf, I knew I'd need some really unique music to capture that feeling of exploring another dimension. Not only that, but the sounds could actually help you navigate if the music is dynamic. So if it changes based on the direction you're facing in 4 dimensions. Since I don't have much musical talent myself, I'm working again with philmakesnoise. He was able to capture that same otherworldly feeling in the Hyperbolica soundtrack, and I can't imagine a better fit.
Hey, this is Phil, and I make noise. I'm here to talk about the 4D golf soundtrack, and just kind of my overall approach. I really wanted to keep the vibe loose and organic to match the playfulness of the game, so I used a lot of live instrumentation. This can take a little bit longer, but it can also lead to great happy accidents. And that's really something I try to encourage. Oftentimes I'll just have jam sessions where I'll rough out ideas and go back to them later and chop them up if needed. Most of the Hyperbolica soundtrack was made this way. If you've seen my channel, you know that I'm kind of a gearhead. But honestly, I've spent years with just an old laptop and a copy of Ableton. At the end of the day, you just gotta use what works. And just remember, it's not a race. I was really stoked to be back working with Code Parade again on this project. Keep an eye out for my channel where I'll be going over specific implementational strategies for the sound.
And as for the 4D dynamic music, here's how we've been going about it. To understand rotations better, it's convenient to think about the vector angle representation. In 3 dimensions, that means you choose a unit 3D vector to rotate towards, then add a 2D rotation on that axis. All rotations can be made in that way. In 4 dimensions, it's very similar. It's just that now you have a unit 4D vector to rotate towards, and now 3D rotations keep that direction fixed. That's great because 3D rotations and unit vectors in 4D are both representable by quaternions, which are much easier to work with. It's kind of funny saying that because quaternions are notoriously hard to understand when you first learn to use them, myself included. But in this case, it's the easier step. Anyway, I mentioned before that you usually don't want camera tilting in a first-person game other than to look up and down. So, with the right coordinate system, that can be forced by keeping the vector in a single plane and having the quaternion handle the rest of how you're seeing the world. Looking up, down, and left, right in your 3D slice shouldn't change the music anyway, so what's left is a unit 3D vector to control volume and other sound effects on different layers that make up the music. And what do you know, it's already 3 normalized parameters from -1 to +1. I'm still working out the details of exactly what controls what, and this whole system could change, but here's an example of what it can sound like. You may have noticed that I've been making a lot of improvements to the game on the graphics and the engine. I've also completed more of the courses, themes, tutorials, menus, and more. So everything's coming along nicely, but never as fast as I would like. Feature creep is just always the case in game dev, apparently. And I might switch to doing some shorter form devlogs just to talk about specific things I found interesting and even other small projects, just to balance my YouTube time better with the actual game development. See you all in the next one.